All right, guys. Today is a very special talk between myself, LA, and my special guest from Berlin, Germany, Gianpaolo. And he
Hi,
contacted.
everybody.
What's up, guys? We're going to be talking about hemophilia and sex, a topic that a lot of people want to stay away from. But I feel like we got the perfect guest today who is willing to be as open as possible, and he's got a lot of awesome messages that he wants to share with the community, and I'm just so excited to have you today. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, thank you for having me, LA. I'm really happy to be in your podcast, and I'm very, very excited about our talk today because it's very personal to me, and I know that it's an argument that it's very hard to talk about for so many people, but I think we have to turn the light on.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about sex, baby.
There you go. Yeah, he wants me to play the song. Let's talk about sex from Salt and Pepper. So we're going to play that. We're going to get it.
We are going to play it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is even more interesting, though, because, I don't think there's ever been anything in the community about sex with, male on male sex or, even female sex. It's just been kind of the traditional, male female sex. So I think this makes this episode way better, way more intriguing, way more informational. And I've been
talking about a wider spectrum of sex.
Exactly. So I'm really excited. Why don't you give us a little bit about your condition, your backstory, and what's made you who you are today?
So I'm Gianpaolo. I'm 34 years old. I'm Italian, and I live in Berlin, Germany, since 2014, which is 7 years now. And I've been diagnosed with hemophilia B, like middle severe, but that behaves like a severe when I was 3 years old. And at this moment of my life, I have 2 prostheses on my knees, and my foot, ankle are not in the best condition, and my elbow are okay for now.
Okay, so target joints.
This is my situation. And I come from a background and from a situation where I haven't had any mentoring, or even like people on my age I could share some feeling, thought, information, experience with. So like all I could have, it was my aunt, that she was taking care of me, my dad, and that's it, because me, as you, LA, we come from a generation that didn't have internet when we grew up.
Exactly.
So there were a few books that didn't talk too much about sex at all with hemophilia, and we are sexual beings, and I think that we should have an open conversation about sex.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, well, thanks for the introduction. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much to talk about, and we're gonna talk about some non-hemophilia related stuff too, like our craziest sex story. So I hope you think about your craziest sex story, because at the end, I want to hear it. All right.
Ooh.
Okay. It's gonna get spicy. So this is and one thing that I do want to say to everyone who's watching is that everything that we're talking about today, it's not medical advice. We're not telling you this is exactly how you should do it. This is just coming from a perspective of two hemophilia.
We're just sharing experiences.
Yes, we're just sharing our experience. So I mean, you can even look at this as just entertainment purposes only, if you'd like. So we just want to share with you guys what we've gone through, the things that we've personally learned, and if somehow you can benefit from you, or if it resonates with you, then that's all that we want. So one big question that I know that everyone
wants to know, I totally agree. I am in the same page.
Yeah. So like one thing that a lot of people want to know about sex is, do you have to infuse before sex, and can you get leads while having sex?
So do you have to infuse before sex? No. Can you have bleeding while you have sex? Yes, it depends.
Okay. Yeah, I've
Okay.
heard mixed stories. I've heard people say that they've gotten bleeds, and some people haven't gotten bleeds. So tell me
I've
about
got so many bleeds during sex.
you have.
Like not during sex. I mean, I got treated afterwards, but
All
I
right.
had
So
a
you
lot
got.
of experience
So tell me
where
about your
I.
experiences.
So, like, let's start. The weirdest one, let's say, and it happened just once in my life when I was like 19.
Okay.
I had an actual bleeding inside my penis. So basically, I was having sex with this man, and we were in a car. These
Yeah.
were the time where I was a
Yeah.
student in Pisa, so I couldn't bring it to my place, and it was coming from far away. So, well, we were on the street, and these adventures, things that happen when you're young,
Yeah.
and basically we caught ourselves in a position where I was being the active partner, and in the way that I was having sex, then I got a bleeding on my feet. So I didn't understood it straight away. I felt a pain in that moment, but then in the day afterwards, I saw, okay, I had a bleeding,
Yeah.
and that was hurting then afterwards. It was not something that was I had to run to the hospital. I just
Yeah.
like got treated, and then eventually it went away. It took
Okay.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It hasn't been something that goes away like this.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking about 15, 16 years ago, which means the therapy was not as strong as it is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because now we have all of these medicines that are like long lasting, 1 week, and then they're stronger. The level gets higher in a
Yeah.
faster way. And
Yeah. There's a lot of
they,
like longer acting medications now, so that's awesome. It's really cool to see all of the selection that people have now with medication, because growing up, we didn't have much of a choice. So it's pretty much you get one medication, and now there's so many options out there for people.
well, I changed so many. I start with the Babulin, then I went to Imafix, then I went to Mono 9, then I went to Alpha 9, then got back to Imafix, and then I ended up on Benefix
Mhm.
for 12 years or something, 13
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And after Benefix, here I changed and I got uh, Rixubis,
Mhm.
and then I
Yeah.
got Alprolix,
Okay. So you tried them.
and
You tried
then
them all.
now Refixia.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm the same way. I've tried a lot. I've tried Rixubis and Idelvion. Um, I'm on Xinity right now, but I kind of go back and forth and just, I try to test different medications out and see which one works best for me.
I mean, I'm pretty happy with Refixia.
Yeah.
I have like, if I can make a critique to them,
Yeah.
and I think it comes from a marketing purpose, but it's really bad for us
Yeah.
that we suffer from this disease, which means the doses they made is like the highest is 2000.
Yeah.
And by being a long-term medication, we have to inject at least 4,000, 6,000.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm now back to have to take 2 boxes of the medicine,
Yeah.
this is annoying.
Oh yeah. Trust me. I take
Time
6,000.
consuming,
Yeah.
resource consuming. I'm at 4,000 a week
Mm.
right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Awesome. So, okay. So I've got a question for you. With when you're dealing with like male on male sex, obviously it's way different than male female sex. You're sticking your penis
is
into a
it?
vagina. Well, I mean, penis going inside a vagina is different than penis inside of your ass, right? or butt. So like,
oh, that are we getting that explicit? Okay.
yeah,
So basically, I don't
so,
think I.
so like, so like when you, it wouldn't affect you if you're the one who, I don't know how you say it. Like if when you're the one.
I mean, so there is, of course, like I see sex way more openly than like straight
Yeah,
sex than gay sex or something,
yeah,
and the fact that maybe two male people are having sex and there is a penetration, there could be also a vagina involved,
yeah,
for in case of a trans person or so trans guy,
yeah.
and but I don't see it as much of a difference. The only difference that there is that you have to lubricate more,
Well, that's
basically.
what I was saying. If you're the one who's actually receiving the penetration from a male, is there a chance that you can get a bleed in your butt from having that done to you? That's what I would.
Uh,
That's an aspect that I wouldn't know. I mean, could that
okay.
cause a bleed?
Uh, yes, it can, but a lot of heterosexual guys play with their butt
Yeah,
while they're having
yeah,
sex with a woman. So
yeah. It's just
it
not
can
as common,
happen.
but yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you had to
It
take
can
extra
happen for sure.
precaution, just make sure you had plenty of lubrication, I guess. I mean,
Yes, like lubrication is like the sedation.
yeah, yeah. I've just started to realize, like, hey, there's nothing wrong with a little extra lubrication, you know?
There is all like lubrication is always good.
Yeah,
Like when I have sex with my partner, something that I like to do is also to use like either is water-based lube or silicone-based lube,
hmm,
but you can use it like also for massaging the person and playing a little bit so
yeah,
that you're not out of lubrication.
yeah, yeah.
We are a little bit now, I would say more not evolved, but upfront on the day of spit and go.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. So another thing that I get a lot of people who contact me from the fitness side, and they want to know what kind of supplements I use. So I know people are gonna come up with the question of, are hemophiliacs allowed to use supplementations for sex, such as
Yeah,
Viagra, Comagra, stuff like
that's a
that?
great point because like just right now I was talking to my home doctor about it,
Mhm.
and so basically if somebody has ever done a research on that matter, if you try to look up for some Viagra related solution, you're gonna find out that it's written that it can cause problems with hemophilia. So like I am now lost because then I went to my doctor and I told him that I'm having some maybe erection problem between my down there.
Yeah,
And when I was talking to him and he asked me, "Have you ever used Viagra?" And then I told him no. And then he watched at me and he like with open eyes he said, "Have you ever used Viagra?" Never.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
because I know that I have
yeah,
to consult my doctor first, and
yeah,
I'm doing it.
yeah.
But do you have any other experience in that matter?
Yeah, like for me, I mean, and it's highly marketed these days. When you're on social media, I mean, they've got things like Blue Chew, things that you just like the chewables you put in your mouth. Um, and so for me
Okay.
personally, I my roommate actually owns a sex shop, and I go to
Well,
her. Yeah, and so I go to her sex shop, and she has these little oral jellies called Comagra, and you don't have to have a prescription for that for Comagra.
send me some samples
I
so I can
know I
try
need to
it.
send you a box, but they are little jellies, and you put it in your mouth before sex, and it just like, I almost never want to have sex without it now because it just is that much better. And
Okay.
listen, I kind of look at myself as like a test rat, like I'm not always 100% responsible when it comes to like going to my HTC and asking permission. I kind of just test things on myself. And so, I didn't ask. I would highly recommend anyone ask their HTC provider, but for me personally, I just went ahead and took it. I've been taking it for about, I would say, 6 months, and I have not noticed any kind of complications with hemophilia because of taking it. The only thing that I do realize is that sometimes when I take too much, it'll give me like a really bad headache. So I have to take just a little bit. I can't take too much. But other than that, I mean, it's been a game changer for me.
Okay. Well, talking back, going back about bleeding during sex. Okay. So it's something that can happen, and we all know that. The only thing is that basically, one thing that I'm learning, getting older, is like I'm hearing more and more my doctor telling me to listen to my body, so that my body talks to me and tells me stuff. So I know my body better than the doctor does. On one hand, he knows the disease that I have. He knows how to treat a problem that I have. But I live in my body every day. So when I'm having sex, I don't have to be ashamed of telling the other person that I cannot get in a certain position or that I cannot do a certain stuff, because I know that I can have bleeding. Because I mean, sex is fun, and we should all have fun.
Yeah.
We should all have sex with consensual adult persons. But it's something that it's always, you have to know what you can and you cannot do.
Yeah. So communication is important between, you and your partner, right?
Not only communication, yes, but knowing your boundaries.
Yeah.
You can get till here, but you cannot get over there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely up to us to communicate with our partners, from my experience as well, letting them know, maybe having a safe word or something, or just, let them know if it's getting a little too much. But
well, okay, I will use the safe word in other conditions, but
oh yeah,
yes, but I mean, what I'd love people also to get from this podcast is that sex is never a taboo. Sex is something that we should all experience in many ways, okay? Because I don't know if that's the same for you as for me, but we've been growing up thinking that bondage and BDSM is very dangerous and is just for people that are sick, mentally ill, or it's just a lot of negative stuff related.
Yeah.
Being in Berlin, where the fetish scene is so big and huge, I've been learning that when you're playing BDSM, there is such a high respect between the people that are playing you, and such a high level of trust that you have no idea.
Really?
So, yes. So basically, BDSM is way more safer than just regular sex, because people that are going to play BDSM, then they're exchanging information.
For people who don't know what that is, can you explain that a little bit more, what that stands for?
Yes, let me check the official meaning, because BDSM, I know that it's bondage and so wait a second. Bondage and discipline, domination and submission, sadism and masochism.
Okay. See, I don't have any experience in that realm of sexuality, so that's very interesting. I mean, it seems like that would be like dangerous, or like that would be hard for someone with hemophilia to experience. But you're saying that you've experienced it, and it's
usually when I experience these, I am the dominator one.
Okay.
So I dominate the situation.
Gotcha.
And I don't play with people that want to go pretty heavy, which means for me it's more about, okay, we enjoy our sex, we're going to do a bit of play role, and there are gonna be some action involved, and if you wanna be beaten too hard, I don't play with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I don't like it.
Yeah.
Personally.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people that do that, and they should enjoy it as far as they both love it.
Yeah.
But going back to the bleeding, I had so many joint bleeding during sex that I cannot even count. Because basically, by having prosthesis, how do you say that in English?
Yeah. Like a prosthetic?
Yes, like my knee is a titanium one.
Okay.
Is it a prosthetic in English?
Yeah, maybe it's. I think it could be prosthetic.
Okay, and so I cannot get on my knees, for example.
Okay.
And even when I get on my knees on the bed, which is something that is not super okay to do, there are times that if I bend too much my knees, then I get a bleeding.
Okay.
And I know that. Or otherwise that the sex is too passionate and there be some extra biting where it shouldn't be, then I have also some bleeding.
Yeah. Man, I got to tell you a story about that real quick. I went on a date. It was probably, I would say like 4 months ago. And it was the very first date. And I went to a bar where this girl was. And like within 10 minutes, she started, well, this is what really happened. I don't know if you realize, oh, hold on, I got to exit out of my screen. I don't know if you remember, but is it better?
Yeah, it tells me that this meeting has no time limit.
What? No.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Has no time limit. Yes, I hear you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I got to tell you this story though. So like I got my hair colored not that long ago. I don't know if you saw my Instagram, but I went blonde for a little bit on my hair. And the stylist that colored my hair, she ended up asking me out on a date. And so we went on a date that night. Yeah. Right after she got done doing my hair. And we went to a bar. Within 10 minutes, she started kissing me and making out with me. And then she decided that she was going to bite my lip. And she bit my lip and I was bleeding profusely. I could not stop bleeding. Like blood was gushing out of my mouth at the bar. And she was just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm like, why did you bite me like that? Jesus. And so like I had to cover my lip the entire night. I could not stop bleeding. So trust me, I understand bites. That could be like really dangerous.
That's a horror story. I mean, I love to be beaten.
She was trying to be sexy, by biting, but she really took a chunk out of my lip.
I don't like that. So I had once in Italy, I was in a discotheque, very young, dancing, blah, blah. And there was this guy, really hot. And then he was into biting, and he bites me on the neck so hard that I had a bleeding for weeks.
Oh my God.
And I had to cover my neck, and I couldn't move my head so much. And that's insane.
Yeah.
Okay? This is something I'm not fetishistic about. I don't like this stuff. So it's more like, okay, we're biting each other, but we are not hurting each other.
Yeah, seriously. Wow.
And another thing that I want everybody to get also from this is that sex is beautiful, and we should all talk about sex, as we said, and we should all enjoy sex and explore sex. Be open, talk about it. But the most important things, and for the safety of everybody, we should all play safe, which means communication and consent is the most important thing, whatever you do sexually.
Yeah.
From kissing to anal sex to oral sex to everything. Okay? Consensual sex is the most important. Safe sex and regular checkup. I know that in the heterosexual community, let's say, it's not a regular practice to get tested regularly.
Yeah.
And how often do you get tested for STDs?
Like for
if
me,
I may ask.
I'm ashamed to say almost, but like I went a long time. This past year was the first time that I got tested since I've ever been sexually active. So I'm 32, and this was the first year I've been tested. So I mean, it's
okay.
I know.
So I
gotta be real. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be real.
It's fine because I know that this story is real, and I am 34, and ever since I'm 19, I get tested 6 months, every 6 months. And now because I am on the PrEP trial, I get tested every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing bad on getting an STD that you can treat. It can happen. It happened to me. It happened to a lot of people. But if you never get tested, you can never know. And for instance, if you're getting chlamydia, okay, it can, if it's not treated, okay, it can develop in something way worse. So always get tested. It's just like a simple checkup. Try to find a doctor that treats you with respect in this matter of testing. And I think that there are sexual health centers everywhere nowadays.
Yeah.
And you can do it a lot of time also anonymously, so that your health insurance doesn't have to know. At least here in Germany you can, and I think that you can do also in Italy.
Awesome. Well, I think that's an awesome message. I'm really glad that you shared that. I think a lot.
Thank you.
even for someone like me, I need to do better on that aspect as well. So
yeah, because maybe like I'm glad that you have never had to experience any STDs, and keep like that. But in my case, I had a couple of experiences that were horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I've lived for a couple of years in another city here in Germany that I'm not going to mention, that really put me to the test mentally, physically. It almost got me on a burnout. I was at the point of killing myself, but we are maybe going to touch that point later. I was never having sex. I was never having any sexual contact there because the city was too small, and even though there were 2 gay bars in the one that I used to go, you always find the regular public that was an elderly public, and I was 23, and I love talking to people, and especially elderly people, but in matter of sex, I was not very hype on having sex with people that are maybe 60 years old or 70 years old. Not at that time. I'm going to get there when I will get to that age maybe. But in order to have sex with me, I had to go 100 kilometers away. There was a gay sauna, and that had a bear day, bear Sunday. Bears is a part. What?
What is it called again?
It's a bear Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw, like, the first time that I saw your profile, and I saw you tattooed with the bear paw in here. Like, this is usually a gay thing and a gay bear thing.
Well, mine's supposed to be a white tiger claw. Like, it's like the white tiger.
Oh, really? It looks like a bear paw.
I know.
And,
I know.
If you look up for internet, you're gonna find so many men that are gay.
So you saw my bear claw, and you're like, "Hey, there's one of my. He's gay."
Maybe no. Let's hope. God. Let's hope.
Let's hope.
I'm not gonna bite you, but it's gonna hit on you like the hairdresser did. So I was going there. I had some sex experience. And after a while, I knew that something went wrong. Basically, I felt that I got an STD. And then I went to my home doctor at the time, and a woman, relatively young, because I think I was 25 and she was like 45, 50. And basically, while I'm asking her for help, because I'm telling her I'm not feeling well, I had some sexual experience going on this place, and I wanted to ask you if you can text me for STDs. And that never happened in my life in Italy and in Tuscany. And for the first time in my life, I heard my doctor saying to me, well, you have to pay for the test. And I didn't want to pay because you don't have to pay. Never. You don't have to pay, never. There are sexual health center, and to get tested for STDs, you should never have to pay. Okay. And then basically, after refusing me to make the test, she started talking to me, and she told me, well, if you have been with two men, you know what you were doing. And I was so shocked because like my home doctor should never let me feel judged for having sex and the sex practice that I do. Never. Okay. And I don't want to dish way deeper on that, but at the time I couldn't speak so well German. But if this would happen to me right now, I would definitely sue them. And basically, she refused, and then I went away very pissed. And then I talked to my family, because I had portion of my family there. And then they told me, why did you tell her that you're gay? And then I told them, well, she's my doctor, and my doctor needs to know that I'm gay. I don't see the problem in that. Well, but you could have spared it. No. You're just like, no. And if it ever happens to you, sue them. Like, either you teach them how to deal with people, or you take legal action, because they can never refuse to treat you or to test you because you are gay. And then she started telling me, well, do you know how expensive are the medicines for people that have heart disease and something? And I was thinking in my mind, I may have an STDs, and I am hearing a woman talking me about medicines for the heart that needs other people, which has nothing to do with my issue. Right now, I have to be treated.
That's horrible.
So like, that was a nightmare. I'm gonna write a bad review on that office very soon. And what about you? Like, how did you approach your STD testing?
I was nervous, man. I did not want to do it at all. But I did the old doctor that I had before. He was a guy, and he left the practice, and so I had to get somebody new, and I had to do it right away. And I was just like really embarrassed about it. I didn't really want to talk about what I was doing sexually. So I kind of prepared myself mentally for it. And then, of course, the worst case scenario, I get there, and it was the most beautiful doctor ever. Like she was gorgeous. And I was just immediately, I was just like, really, come on, this is so hard as it is. And you had to do this, but I did it.
Was she professional?
She was professional, but man, it was so hard not to look at her and just be like, man, like, I do not want to tell her all of these things. I want to try to get her phone number. I don't want to try to tell her about what I'm doing sexually. So but I pushed through it. I did it, and we just did some blood work and testing. It was harmless.
Yeah, I mean, like I have been through so many, let's say, things that I am not sensitive on that matter anymore, because basically the doctor that I have right now is super handsome, but he's married already with another man. So like I told him I wanted to call you my husband, and he said I already have one. And another thing that happened to me, it was that and that was the thing that changed everything. So even though it was one of the most embarrassing moments in my life, it put everything in a positive light for some. And basically it was that I was recovered in Florence to get my first prosthesis done. And at the time I was 90 kilograms, and I really liked relatively skinny guys. And so there was this nurse, and for me, he was so handsome at the time. Now I will never look at him in the same way. Yes, like completely. But at the time, he was so handsome to me. And then basically, I was always watching when he was coming and looking at him, because I was stuck in the bed anyway. So, and before getting to the operation room, they put me the tube inside my penis so that I will not pee on the table while I was under anesthesia. And who is gonna put me the tube? The cute nurse.
Prince Charming.
Yes. And like my penis is not big generally. And in that moment, it was so like retracted, and he wanted to disappear as much as I wanted to disappear.
That's the worst. That is the worst. I'm not going to lie, man. I've been in that situation before too, where the doctor is going to check your like private parts, and you're in the waiting room and you're just like, man, like it's kind of cold in here. And you're like, I'm even guilty. I'll tell you something that I'm guilty of. I was on my phone in the waiting room, just like watching porn. And I'm like, come on. I'm like, you don't want him to check you out when you're, cold and limp. So that's my little guilty. That's my guilty story. And so I definitely prepare myself.
So that you had a wake up situation.
Yeah, you gotta present your best self,
No, like I could never do that. Like if I am at the doctor, it's most likely because I'm feeling sick. So deal with it. And I was going under a major procedure because like a prosthesis, a prosthetic on your knee, it's not like an easy job. So, well, that went through, and then that was the moment and also like the other part, and that shows us we as hemophilic people, we go through so much shit we don't even see, and we don't even recognize, okay? Because like besides that, there was another moment in my life that was really, I don't know if I should say undermining, but where I felt in that moment my dignity being really, really low, below the earth level. And it was the moment after I got out from the hospital for the procedure. I mean, you are gonna be, if you do joint prosthetic, you're gonna be stuck in the hospital for a month. Usually. Or a couple of weeks at least.
That's why I won't get my ankle replaced, because I am so scared of the recovery time.
What ankle are you talking about?
My right ankle is
the foot ankle.
Yeah, my right foot. I was told that I need a complete replacement, and I'm so scared to get it because I suffer from depression, and I don't want to. I know that if I'm recovering and I'm off my feet and I can't take care of myself for a month or longer, it's going to really put me in a deep depression.
Well, I can tell you that the prosthesis, the operation, the being 1 month in the hospital, to me was a highlight, because precedent to that time, it was like 6 months, 1 year that I was just stuck at home and eating and sleeping. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to get out. I was just like getting up to eat something and then just go back to sleep, because I didn't want even see the world, because I couldn't walk. I had so much pain and I felt so worthless, so useless, because I couldn't be independent.
Yeah.
So that means I started from such a below level that being in the hospital for me, it was like a party every day. I was socializing with the nurses and I was eating and I was seeing people. I was crying a lot also, but it was a high moment. I remember that the moment I had to leave the hospital, it was really hard for me because basically I had a complication in the first prosthesis. So that means I stayed in the hospital 1 month and a half, almost 2 months.
Okay.
And basically at the end, I got really friendly with the nurses. So I was going in the nurses' room, saying good morning in the early morning. And I was building myself a life inside the hospital. And when I left, I remember, I'm getting emotional talking about this, but I was in the car with my father crying because I said, okay, there I was doing something every day. And what am I going to do now? That I'm going to go home and I have no perspective waiting for me, let's say. And but the point of low dignity, let's say, in that matter, it was the moment that I had, I mean, in the hospital, I had the nurses washing me for most of the time. But when I was at home, my father had to do that. So here I am, 23 years old, 25 years old, naked, having my father washing my genitalia because I don't have strength. Because after you go like such a major surgery, it takes time before you build strength and everything. And not being able to stand up by myself and he washing me, it was really hard. And let's not screw this makeup. And
well, I appreciate you telling me that, man. Like, that's one of the reasons why I really connected with you on Instagram in the first place. And, you know, when we met each other, was that, you know, I can tell when someone is a real genuine person. And, you know, we connected right away. We jumped on a phone call and we just had the most beautiful conversation. And it was, I know it was good
that
for
was
me.
a life-changing moment for me.
It was great for me. And you said it was good for you. And it was just, it's just so awesome. I mean, you're in Germany, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. The fact that we can connect on Instagram and share our stories, it was such an awesome experience.
Yes. And then like when we talked the first time, I remember telling to you very intimate thing about experience that I had. And you told me, bro, like this is the same as I feel without even telling you.
Exactly.
And that was like, I felt liberated. I felt, okay, I'm not the only crazy person that is going through that. And so I hope that with this, we can build up a community of people and we can be like sort of a base for other people in that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
that they cannot feel alone.
I think we're going to share a lot here. And then I also feel like everyone should be encouraged to reach out to you and ask even more questions, because I believe that the things that you've gone through in your life and your story, your journey, you have so much value to share with other people. And so I encourage people to reach out to you
Thank you. Yes, I'm
Yeah, and we'll
available.
at the very end, I'll post all of your social media contacts and stuff so that people can, follow you and message you.
So
One
don't
thing,
be surprised if you jump on my profile and you see me like having a lot of video of me with makeup or wearing makeup. I am a queer person, and I don't identify myself 100% on the male gender, nor I do identify on the female gender. These would be usually defined as non-binary, but I don't care about pronoun. You can like talk me to he, his, and depending on the situation, I can also take a she, but the thing is that I need to see that you're doing it with respect. If I
yeah,
see that you're using the she as to be judgmental or to be negative, then um, I'm gonna read you.
yeah, exactly. So
And
like what I love about you is you have such a unique, appearance. Like one thing that I want to know is like how important is finding your identity? Like how important is that to you? And like, did hemophilia ever was hemophilia ever a roadblock from you figuring out who your true
oh my
identity
God,
was?
so many times, so much. Yes. I mean, in a subtle way, because at a certain point of your life, you're so used to organize your life based on the disease that you have that you don't even see it happening. When I finished the first prosthetic, then I said, okay, now I'm going to study web development because this is a job that I can do sitting.
Yeah.
And if I end up in a wheelchair, I can still be a developer. So like I choose a job that was suitable with my disease.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm changing it because I've been doing it for 10 years. I didn't reach out the level in career that I wanted to reach. I'm having a really hard time here in Germany to get a proper job as a web developer, a proper paid job as a web developer. And now I got to the point that I say, okay, this is when I started also living my queer self a lot more because it was a breakthrough moment. And but hemophilia blocked me a lot because if it wouldn't be for hemophilia,
Yeah.
and I'm not ashamed about having it. That's why I'm
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
why I'm sharing my experience.
Yeah.
But if I wouldn't have been hemophilic, I would have been on the road, just playing music, singing, and for pennies on the street. Even being homeless, I don't care because uh, uh, I like to sing. I like to
So
express
that's
myself.
your
My
dream, right?
dream,
Your dream is to be
my dream would be to be on a stage
on a
doing a
musical.
musical.
I
That
love
would
it.
be
I love
my
it. And bro,
top
I
dream.
hope that we
Yes,
see that one day. Don't give up on that. I really want to see you do
I
that.
hope it too. I really hope it too. Let's
I hope I
see
hope I hope
if
that this
it.
podcast will reach some people in the community. Maybe there's some opportunities out there for you to be a part of a musical. So
I'm ready. I'm
yeah.
gonna work my ass off.
I mean, how could you not like this guy? Come on. I mean, I love it.
Oh.
You've got the perfect look. Oh man.
Yeah. And, so another thing is like, and this is something that the older you get, the wiser you get, the more you develop respect for yourself, and the more you're gonna choose wisely the people that you are surrounded from, that you're gonna have as a surrounding, and which means right now my friends, the people that I really call friends,
Yeah.
are the people that love me for who I am. They don't care that I don't have money. They don't care that I'm not skinny or that I don't have a well-paid job. And they love me for who I am,
That's amazing.
inside and outside.
So
And
many
this is
people need to hear that
most
message.
important
That's
thing.
powerful, brother. That's powerful. So many people need to hear that because so many of us get so comfortable just being around the people that we think that we have to be around, and
I
maybe
know
they're
that for us, having hemophilia, it's a little bit harder to get in every type of community, let's say.
Yeah.
And always choose yourself. Always choose yourself before other people. Because if you're going to have to adapt to people that are going to get you to be sick, for example, I had to throw away friendship, for example, that were criticizing me for not wanting to walk stairs. And they were calling me just lazy.
Yeah.
And I think, no, this is who I am. I have to take care of my body. If I am sick, if I am stuck in bed, it's not you that are gonna go grocery shopping for me and coming over.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
you wanna take the stair, go for it, take the stairs, but be respectful of the fact that I'm using an elevator.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're healthy and you wanna take the stairs and you have hemophilia, go for it.
Yeah.
But never do that for someone else. Do that just because of you choose to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it.
And never adapt to communities or something. No. Try to find your niche. Try to find your people by expressing yourself. And be always surrounded by people that can accept if your point of view is different from theirs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because these are the people that are going to allow you to grow up.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. That's huge, because that's also a big part of my story. I spent the past 6 years, really, I started off by isolating myself, and that's not always the healthiest thing to do, but I did. I felt like the people that were in my life at that time, they weren't allowing me to grow because they kept on looking at me in the same light. Like I used to be a troublemaker, and I never was successful. I always quit all the jobs that I had, and they didn't know, but I was quitting those jobs because I was physically hurt because of my hemophilia, and I couldn't last. But people were just looking at me as a failure. And even when I was trying to grow, those people could only look at me in the light that they wanted to look at me in. And so I started to realize, man, I can't grow around these people. They won't allow me to. Even if I show improvement, they still want to look at me like I'm a piece of crap. So
that's why I closed contact with so many part of my family.
Yeah. So I isolated myself for a long time. And then finally I was like, who do I want to become? And what are my interests? Like, how do I want to develop as a person? And I started surrounding myself around those people who I admired, who I wanted to be more like. And I made friends in those communities, which is hard. But once I did that, I started to grow so much faster. And,
can we put one thing out there? I'm just like speaking it out, not because I want it to become an excuse, but to have it acknowledged for so many people that don't hear it a lot. We hemophilic people, we grow up with I think a lot of negative feeling because we grow up with pain. Okay, we grow up with pain because we have always joint bleeding and then we cannot play. So even when we are a child, we're put into a very stressful situation because we are 8 years old, 10 years old. We want to play soccer or whatever game our friends are playing, but we cannot because the last time we got a major bleeding, that it's putting us home to the bed. So like, have it on your head, not as a limit, but as a power that drives you forward, that in order for us to achieve the same result that a health person achieves, we need to work a lot more, to the point that we don't even see that, because we are so used to have pain all the time in different area of our body that we live with it.
Again, look at this. You can't see. I got chills. I got chills again. You did this last time we talked. I'm telling you, that is huge because, man, like that, like, so many of us who have this disorder, we look at what we have as a handicap and that we can't do something. And like you said, it's going to take a little bit extra effort, and we just have to take accountability. We have to understand that whatever our dream is, whatever our goal is, the world doesn't care if we have hemophilia. They're not going to get you. You can't pull out your handicap card and then all of a sudden reach your dreams and your goals. That's just our reality. We need to embrace that reality and be like, hey,
we need to change the society and put the society in a condition to see us as people that we are working a lot more than a healthy person to achieve the same level. So we are not the type of people that are lazy or that quit always jobs. We have problems, and we have to help the society becoming a little bit less capitalistic and more human, let's say. And another thing that I can say to you is we are like always also fighters, and it's great. And we have to acknowledge we are fighters. So we get up every morning, we do everything, we go to work. Either we have pain or not, either we can walk or not, we go to work. I remember once I was in London and I had to run an event. I could not walk. I flew from Berlin to go there to run this event. I could not walk that day. And I had, with painkillers and my medicines and everything, I had to walk in order to get this job done, and then flew back home. And this is something we have to acknowledge. And another thing is that the human contact, the human person, the friendship that we have are very important also for one reason, because we all need a moment of weakness. Because when you're strong, if you're always strong all the time, you're just gonna break. You're just gonna have a breakdown. And the more you stay constantly strong, the major is gonna be the breakdown. So allow yourself to be weak,
vulnerable,
to cry out, to say how much you hate the world for putting you in that situation, and cry and hug somebody and find that person you can do that with.
I love
and
that.
Then cry yourself out for one night and do that. Put everything out there. But then the next day, you're going to get up, you're going to be stronger, and you're going to go forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it.
So
I love it. That is amazing. So, you know what? I love you, bro. I love you. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you know, we're over an hour. We're over an hour in the interview, so I think that's pretty good. That should wrap up everything.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And you know, maybe we could even do a follow-up topic later on if people want to see us, you know, join again, or people have more questions. But thank you.
If you have any topic you want to discuss about, you want to talk about, and you are hemophilic, just let us know in the comment or something, and we can definitely touch the topic if we have had any experience. I will be more than glad to share my experience if this is going to be.
One thing that we are going to do to end the episode with a bang is we're going to talk about our craziest sex stories.
Oh God, I forgot it.
So you go ahead and share yours, and then I'll share mine.
Oh my God, I have so many. I really don't know how to pick up, because I'm gonna try to keep it like on the regular level.
Okay.
Share because there was a moment in my life that the bed was the craziest place I've ever had sex, because at the beginning I couldn't have sex in my bedroom. But one of the craziest stories was like once I was in Tuscany on a naked beach and naked gay beach.
Yeah.
And I have to pay attention when I say beach because sometimes it sounds like bitch. And basically, in the bushes, thing happened. There are people going there and sharing some intimate body contact that makes you happy.
Yeah.
And basically, one of the craziest thing is that I discovered there because, like, by being there and you're walking and people are having sex, you watch people that have sex.
Yeah.
And when you're having sex, you're watched from other people.
Yeah.
So basically, I discovered that I didn't mind being watched while having sex.
Oh, okay.
As long as they stayed far away. And
no touching, but
I didn't
watch.
mind it. And another crazy story, it was like that I was with this guy and we went with this car on the land.
Yeah.
And basically, while he was driving the car, he jumped from a side in a hole. He couldn't get his car out of it.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
So basically, it was in the middle of the night, and that was in Tuscany. And we were like on a grain camp.
Yeah.
You call it grain camp?
A grain camp?
On a camp, like on a land. We were on a land.
Okay.
Where they planted grain. And so basically, the sky was very blue, night clear, and there was a big full moon, giving so much light. And then basically, I had to call my sister to tell him, okay, you have to come and pick us up because this happened. And we didn't have sex. So I thought, okay, but nice, I'm about to have sex, and then it's not going to happen. But while we waited for my sister to come over, oh my God, that was really hot fire that happened in there. Yes, on the land with the moonlight.
Way to make a bad situation good right away. That's awesome.
Yes, this is still in my heart. One of the best experiences that I had.
Oh, wow.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've got so many too, but one that I'll share is, man, I was probably 20 years old actually. And do you know what golfing is?
Golfing?
Golf.
Like golf?
Golf, yeah. So I used to play golf all the time. And there was a golf course. And golf used to be my favorite sport. And it was Valentine's Day. And I decided to sneak onto the golf course. And when they shut off, and I put candles all around the green. And I took a blanket and I put the blanket in the middle of the green. And I blindfolded my girlfriend. And I took her to the golf course and I walked her down to the green and I had all these candles lit and we snuck on the golf course and had sex in the middle of a green. And then we just, we slept there and stared off into the stars. So
but that's not crazy.
I have the one story that I told you already where I went out to eat with my girlfriend and we lived 5 minutes away. And I decided, you know what? 5 minutes is too long. I got to have sex right now. We pulled over to the mall parking lot. There was no cars, pitch black. And we're in the back seat having sex. And all of a sudden the cop car pulls up right behind me, shuts off his lights and just waits. He just sits there and waits. He knows what's going on and he just waits. And as soon as I get done having sex, I get up and I look over and he's just standing there with his arms crossed like this.
He who?
The cop.
Oh my God.
And so I was just like, oh no. And I got my clothes on right away and she's freaking out. I'm freaking out. And luckily he was so nice to me because I thought I was going to jail and he was so nice to me. And he just made sure that, he talked to the girl, made sure that everything was consensual and she was there on her own will. But man,
my God, you got quite an experience there.
That was one that I'll never forget because that's the last thing you want to see. And usually, you can tell if a cop is coming because he'll flip on the lights, you can see the siren, all the lights going. But no, he just shut his lights off and was like, I'm going to wait for you. So quite the experience. I don't ever want to live that again. But yeah, that was crazy.
Okay. Well, LA, I am single and Valentine is coming soon. So
I know. I'll talk to my girlfriend and see if she wants to share, but we'll see.
I am up for it.
She seems pretty jealous, though. I don't know, man.
Well.
All right, brother. I love you, man. Thanks for joining me today, and hopefully we'll connect again soon. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yes. See you later, guys.